Good morning, folks. So it's about 20 to 3. It is October 3rd, Friday. 76.6, 70. This one's kind of in the sun. My batteries are all charged. The battery's all charged. And 20.0, I think. 20.1. So welcome to Friday. I'm just coming off a 2-day week. And have some company around the house that's currently doing something with my wife, so I have a few minutes. So I figured I'd wake up and shoot a quick video. You can see it's a beautiful, beautiful day outside. Fall is my favorite time of year because you get, here in the Hudson Valley, you get a lot of these crisp, these blue sky days, dry days. The Hudson Valley has a tendency to be kind of humid, and given that it's a valley, it has a tendency that whatever is in the valley stays in the valley. So if there's pollen, high pollen, it has a tendency to stay in here, or there is a certain amount of manufacturing and automobiles, so whatever pollution has a tendency to stay in the valley. Used to be years ago, there was a lot more burning. People burned stuff, and there was more coal burned and stuff like that. So used to be a lot more hazy. Nowadays, most of our electricity comes from Indian Point in Westchester. And a lot of Canadian power comes down, and obviously it's still a small percentage, probably less than 10%, but there's a certain amount of solar. As I'm driving it around, I see it sitting on people's roofs, so there's a certain amount of that. Anyway, I woke up, or actually I've been thinking about it for a couple of days, what kind of projects I have for the week, and obviously I want to finish this mess up, and I just located this carrier through some of the ratchets in it. I'm trying to figure out what's going to be best. I'd really like to put this in sideways. By that I mean more long ways with the handle going to and from, but I'm not sure it's going to pass the doors. So this may or may not be the carrier. I'm just trying to figure out how I'm going to make the most of this. The compressor on top is a given. The vacuum cleaner on the bottom is a given. A battery charger on that shelf is a given. But these three shelves, I want to make the most use of them. I'm always using a 4-inch grinder, so there really should be kind of a box with the 4-inch grinder in it, some cutoff wheels, or perhaps 2 4-inch grinders, one with a wire wheel on it, one with a cutoff wheel. That should be here, and then the tools that I use regularly. So anyway, that's what's floating around in my mind. I just need to get it the best it could be. So there's that. This bike, I ordered an air filter for it. I like these air filters. This is, I think, a 36 millimeter or 39 millimeter. Actually, it's 39. It's for a 200S type carb. They typically go fairly reasonable. Like, I ordered 4 that will fit this carb. And the reason why I ordered 4 is these also fit the 250 SX, and the 4 of them were only like $22, so they're like five and change each. Call them $6 each. And the nice thing about this is I put that air filter in here, and it cleans things up nice, right? Instead of having this box that somebody beat the hell out of and has holes taped up and all. I mean, it's all nice and clean. So I got that going on. About the battery, I'm going to measure the size and figure out what I'm going to do with that. See if I have one, or if I have to order one. My lien for this bike is, I bought it because it was a good deal, right? It was $200. But I have trouble swinging my leg over it. Come on. I just woke up, so I'm all stiff, but I have trouble getting my leg over it to ride it. Once I'm on it and sit down, the crotch height, so to speak, the inseam height is okay. Once I put a little weight on it, I can touch the ground and all that, but getting my leg up and over this whole back fender thing is awkward, and I keep grabbing things on the tail of it here. So I'm thinking of possibly trading it, seeing if somebody has a nice three-wheeler out there or something. Given that I have the paperwork for it and all, possibly putting it up for some kind of trade situation. With the title and running with the air filter, battery on it, everything working properly, it should be a $500 bike, maybe even more. It's not pretty. It's got a lot of the tape that's taped in. It doesn't have the signals. I do have the tail light, though. I don't have the signals for it. Not a big deal to come up with a cheap set of signals and smash them on there, wire them back up. But even if I do that, the gas tank is empty, is ugly. I guess I could paint it white and dig up a few stickers, but now, so it goes from a $500 bike to a $700 bike or an $800 bike, but you're putting time, energy, all that kind of stuff into it. Anyway, so I'm just thinking out loud. I'm thinking of possibly putting this up, maybe trade it or sell it. Unfortunately, this is the worst time of year for a motorcycle. Basically, it's a great time to buy them. It's a really lousy time to do anything with them. So I'm thinking out loud. But that's what I'm thinking of with this. This week's project, I was poking around over here and I noticed that I have these Honda Twins, right? This one and this one. And I'm not sure which one of them, one of these two ran when I put it here. And they both, you were able to pull them over. Since sitting here, and that guy, you can see the recoil up on the handle. I think you can see the recoil up on the handle. I can't. Yeah. Right? So, they went from two nice running machines to, excuse my language, two pieces of crap. Absolute shit. So, I really want to drag them out of the pile and take a decent look at them and figure out what I'm going to do with them. See if they're going to run again. See if I have a tendency not to keep them as snow blowers. They have a really cool feature. When you squeeze this, the auger goes, which makes a natural clutch assembly, right? I can spring load it and then step on it to release it or something like that, so it creates a nice clutch assembly for a golf cart, go-kart, tractor type project. A lot of times as I'm keeping stuff around, the hoard in my mind is something to do. Why do I own this? Why am I keeping it? And stuff like these two tractors, this guy and that guy. I don't want to upset a beast and get stung. These guys have separate transmissions, belt drive on the bottom, gear drive to the back axle. And I don't know where this guy's one is. Anyway, they both have gearbox transitions, loose gearbox, so I can take the transmissions out of them. So now you're beginning to put pieces together, right? You have the Honda motor with a really cool clutch. You have a transmission with a 3-speed plus reverse, and there's a go-kart or two floating around elsewhere that have solid rear axles with hubs. So now I chain drive to that axle. The axle's pretty wide, and one begins thinking about, wow, if I put that in something like this or this, I now have a UTV, right? I now have a vehicle I can drive around. All great theory, right? We all love theory. The magic of the situation is mounting everything up, right? The axle you can't just have swinging in the breeze, right? You have to actually mount it to something. Do you mount it to the springs in the back? If you do, that's good because you have suspension. What's hard about it is now you have movement, and you have to start figuring out, how am I going to mount the transmission so that as the rear end is able to move on the springs, the chain doesn't come off, right? Because you chain drive between the transmission and the rear end. And oh, by the way, what am I mounting the rear end to, or the transmission to? There isn't it's not like a mini bike where everything is fixed and you bolt things up to a plate. You got nothing back here, right? Everything is out in the breeze, assuming you're not looking at grass. I don't know, could you see with this one better? A little better, right? You got everything out there in the breeze. So now you have to come up with a plate situation such that you can mount things. And as you're setting all of that up, remember, you want to put the seat on, right? And you need to be able to get to the engine to pull the string, right? That snowblower is a recoil. It's not electric start, so you got to be able to get to the engine to pull the string, to fire it over, and once you get it running, you do want to take it out to ride. I always put the additional condition, if I'm building something, I don't want to put it together such that so many of the things we buy, the way they're put together, such that whatever you work on is like the first thing that they built into it, right? It's like, oh, I got to change the plug. Well, the plug's all the way on the bottom. Or I got to change the oil. Means I got to pull the engine out before I can change the oil. Quick side note, this truly is my ADD video. I put that slime in here, and though there's not weight on it, you can see they seem to be staying up, right? And that's always nice. When I was looking at those red Honda snowblowers, I knew there were two in the driveway. I thought there was a third one in this box truck. Turns out that I must have remembered wrong. There is a snowblower in the box truck, but I think it's one of those two-stroke guys. But the nice thing about this one is it's electric start and pull. So, yeah, it's at the moment buried, so I can't quite get to it to analyze it further. I don't know how many horsepower these are. Probably somewhere between 3 and 5. But it's a two-stroke, which makes it interesting. Yeah, other than this, back here I got some draws, steel draws, junk like that. And as a matter of fact, I was also looking at them, trying to figure out if they want to end up on the shelf. I also have, I call them treasure chest, one of those steel boxes that's over there. I gotta take a look. I got an old pump tank. Typically those things are cute, or cool if you want to make like a barbecue. Not a barbecue, a fire pit, you know what I mean? You kind of cut it off halfway, and you know, you can put wood in it and sit around it and burn it, thinking, I don't know, you're out in the wilderness or whatever. A couple more ATC tires. Yeah, I just like to get back here once in a while, just so I can recall what I owned and remember that I should perhaps slow down on buying. Yeah, this week until the company goes home, I'm going to be a little bit tied up. So they're supposed to leave tomorrow afternoon, so that'll probably tie up my day for tomorrow a bit. But then I have Sunday forward. Next week is Friday. I'm off to my son's for that closing. We're supposed to close on his house, and then probably stay overnight, not definitely. So I'm not sure if that's going to be a Friday or a Friday-Saturday gig. And then let's assume it's Friday-Saturday. Then Sunday is Stormville. Saturday, if I stay overnight, I'll probably go to that flea market in York, Thompson County, whatever, Thompsonville, wherever that is. And so there should be some Amish treats and all following me home from that. Though they're also saying the weather's supposed to be a little bit dicey this weekend, so we'll have to see how that all turns out. I also should look through here. There might be another. You know, I might be wondering about a snowblower. It could be in there. Anyway, folks, thank you for watching and commenting and subscribing. We got to see what project comes up next. See what interesting thing we could play with. I also got to figure out a way of getting these undercover. So maybe build something to put some of this stuff in so it doesn't, you know, get frozen to the ground like it did last year. Oh, I also got the tube. This is the tube for the pit bike. So I got to put that in. Yeah, a lot of like little things. Okay, folks, take care. Keep your feet down. Keep your head up. We'll catch up with you on the next episode of The Horde. Once again, thanks for watching, commenting, and subscribing. And remember to enjoy your days. Bye now.